Hello there friends, have you seen what's going on with Dota? Team Spirit just had their most epic fail at a tournament ever. 23 Savage got carried by a tier 2 player, OG broke down the whole situation with Taiga and much more. Grab some snacks as this episode's gonna be juicy. Without further ado, let's get straight to it. And kicking off our news with a shout out to the young gun, Satanic. For those who are out of the loop, he stepped in as a sub for Aurora, filling in for 23 Savage, who decided to go hunt for Pokemons? Whatever that means. If you know what it means or you have any suggestions, write in the comments below, because I mean, he wasn't at any of the official Pokemon tournaments, if there were any, so I don't know guys. Anyways, contrary to what a bunch of pro players predicted, saying that he was just a bot and a noob, Satanic did amazingly well. First, he carried the team through the decisive match against Secret in the first group stage, then came through again in 2 matches during the second group stage. With such stellar performances, we wouldn't be surprised if Aurora's management starts thinking about snapping him, kind of like what happened with Lorinov, who also made some noise as a sub. Here is what Aurora's current carry had to say about Satanic. I will quote, "My team was brainstorming who could fill in for me, and when I heard about Satanic, I immediately said that this guy's solid and that he could take my place, even if not everyone agreed." I mean, guys, that's some real respect for young Satanic, coming from a pretty seasoned player, right? You know, the one who loves to give a round of applause when his throne is getting hit and the game is not over yet. But it's not all so easy. Corbin, the owner of Yellow Submarine where Satanic plays and also the manager of Team Spirit, wants a lot of money for this player, a whole $1,000,000 for this young gun, and he's also an inexperienced player, so I don't know honestly. Such transfers have happened in CS, Counter-Strike, I mean, before, but in Dota, no player has yet been bought for that kind of cash. And honestly, my friends, I really doubt that any org would just go for a risk with such a young player, you know, considering the buyout clause, if there honestly is one. Corbin might just ruin the young talent's career this way, or he's just defending him from bad things that can happen when the cash comes. Although some pro players and celebrities disagree with Corbin, believing that Satanic is more than ready to play on a tier 1 team instead of being stuck at a tier 2 dump. Guys, what are we thinking about Satanic? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I mean, I saw a couple of his games and he's just very good for his 17 or 16 years old. I highly recommend watching some of his highlights. Meanwhile, breaking news, Dota is still broken and people find some unbelievable bugs. As you can see, the enemy Juggernaut ulted into the Ogre who is in the opposite team, and suddenly they are in one team, like they're not enemies anymore. When I first saw this, I was absolutely mind blown, but the crafty folks of Reddit as always managed to crack the code behind this anomaly. It turns out basically that this thing, I mean the Watcher, is weirdly coded, and when it's captured it gets a buff that somehow flips it to one of the sides. So how does this work, you might ask? First, buy a Lotus Orb on any hero and go capture the Watcher. While you are capturing it, Juggernaut needs to use his ultimate into your Lotus with his Aghanim's Scepter, and by the time we're capturing the Watcher, Juggernaut's skill should end. And that's it. Basically, you just capture not only the Watcher but also the Juggernaut. And the most hilarious thing that in 7 minutes Juggernaut becomes a neutral creep. I mean the neutral hero. He sees all the jungle creeps as his allies and he can attack any side he wants. This sounds so broken but looks so fun. And yeah, hit the like button if you also want to become a neutral creep and just chill in the woods until the end of times. But enough with that, and now into some serious news. The former OG position 4, Taiga, has been accused of match fixing. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just watch the previous video on my channel and don't forget to subscribe. We've already covered the whole story in the previous episode, so just jump and watch if you still haven't. Anyways, it was just a matter of time until OG reacted to this. Seb shared that Taiga clearly struggles with gambling addiction, and OG themselves stepped in with their own clarifications. To put it briefly, OG's management just shared essentially the same story as Seb did in his interview. Like, they had some concerns, they knew something was wrong, but they couldn't do anything because there was no evidence. Although they added a few interesting details. For instance, even if all of it were true, they didn't want to ruin his career and make the whole scandal public. Instead, they preferred to keep it within the team and quietly kick Taiga out. Yo, friends, wait, do we count this as a noble move by OG? Or maybe they should have exposed him for the sake of the whole Dota esports scene. Any ideas? Welcome in the comments below. However, despite the Dota community's hatred for match fixers, people began to defend Taiga, saying he's just a sick person and should be forgiven. But honestly, you know what? My opinion, I don't want to offend anyone, but it's OG, it's their fan base. I seriously doubt that they defend any other match fixer, I mean the same way, if they were from another team or whatever. And here's for example what Entity's Fishman said. I watched the video about Taiga, there's no forgiveness for match fixing, that's my opinion, but at the same time I feel sorry for Taiga because he's a gambler, meaning he'll do anything to win back what he's lost. I hope OG won't have any trouble because of this. I know him a bit personally, and as a person he's very nice and friendly. Poor Taiga, what can you do? And yeah guys, by the way, we're still waiting for any official statements from Valve, I don't know, ESIC or at least ESL, but as Fishman said, what can you do? And speaking of ESL, the drama doesn't stop here. ESL decided to disqualify OneWin, a tier 1.5 team from Eastern Europe, for failing to secure their visas on time, and they replaced them with, can you guess who? Right, OG. And guys, you might ask, what's the big deal here? Visa problems, nothing new, happens all the time, but the situation is quite different. First, as OneWin's coach mentioned, they had visas exactly the same day ESL required them. And then came out the official response or statement from the org itself. And guys, you wouldn't believe it, OneWin were just a couple of hours late for the deadline. They were ready like 3 PM, but the deadline was 1 PM or something like that, on the 8th of April. So basically their visas were actually issued almost immediately after ESL officially announced their disqualification. Naturally, the entire management was furious about this development of events. I mean, what can you do? The official statement from OneWin says that they had the deadline, the first deadline, but then ESL decided to help them a little and extended the deadline again. And still they couldn't get visas in time, even with the extended deadline. So it's all clear for ESL, right? And OneWin's management blames bureaucracy and the embassy of the United Kingdom. Well, I mean, OG got really lucky here. Anyways, I don't know about you, but I'm eagerly waiting for ESL 1 Birmingham. There's been this elite league all the time, but I want to watch some ESL events. Surely we will cover this event, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And yeah, by the way, if you want to help me besides subscribing and commenting and pressing the like button, you can see my Patreon in the comments. Just go there and tip us a little, because that'll be really cool. Anyways, thanks, and let's move. Now, let's talk about Team Spirit. It's unclear what's been happening with them lately. To be honest, their results have been downright terrible. But what do their lineup and manager think about the situation? For example, Corban shared that the players are a bit tilted, however, they're still ready to work hard. And there's no panic within the team. As well as they don't plan any drastic changes, for example, like reshuffles or a complete disband. Or, for example, Miposhka, he didn't tell us anything new. The atmosphere is still focused on work and the players are putting in all the efforts they can. Like, it's simply just a bad patch for them and other teams are playing better. But you know what guys, for me it's just the ultimate Team Spirit. They always start the year badly. I know, it's already April, but guys, can you recall any huge major-like tournaments in the last half a year? No, and that's right. Team Spirit first don't start the year early, and second, they just don't play in small tournaments. So when Riyadh comes this summer, I expect them to be in their top form, and I wouldn't even be surprised if they win it in the end. It's just Team Spirit, and then they will take TI. You can mark my words. Anyways, now let's discuss the Elite League. First of all, there's complete chaos there. Let's start with Group A. Falcons, as expected, secured the first place, but they finally lost a game in their best of 2 matches. And surprisingly, it wasn't Spirit or Extreme Gaming or whoever, it was OG. Seb just crashed Amar. Who would have thought? At the bottom of the table we see Heroic and Team Spirit, who were unfortunately knocked out. So basically, as we just discussed, Yatoro and his team are just clearly not in their shape. It feels like their opponents are currently playing this wonderful PC game better. I mean, all of their opponents at once. Azure Ray, on the other hand, delivered some pleasant surprises, tearing through everyone they needed to. First, they smartly fixed a match against their buddies from IG to a 1-1, and then they lost to Falcons. Oh no, Chinese Mafia got me, no! And well, Amar really went off the rails, beginning to mentally dominate his opponents in all official matches. Just look at this.
To blink initiate and your Timbersaw to just kind of run in. Timbersaw gets a shield rune now. Oh, nice hook shot on the bottom side here. Amar, he's got the Hurricane!
Dick pickup.
They weren't ready for the Hurricane, man.
Amar!
Bots? Oh my god.
Is it brutal? Is it over the edge? I mean, I think if it works, I have no questions. And Entity and OG were also eliminated, but they at least tried. Next, Group B. Things are way more interesting here. Almost every team has a shot at advancing, except for unfortunate ABAD and Blacklist International. They lost to just about everyone. On the other hand, for example, Extreme Gaming were just drawing games consistently for a few days, but then decided all of a sudden to clinch a win in their last match, and they advanced from the group. Besides Blacklist, Boom, Bad Boom, and Aurora got eliminated. And there's also one team I'd like to highlight here, and it's obviously Team Liquid. They had also hit their stride. After a setback at the Dream League, it seems that they've done a massive amount of work and came back much stronger. And also, surely Thompson is in just some unreachable shape. They're delivering some incredible performances. Honestly, I thought at best they could make it to the lower bracket, but here they are, confidently playing and advancing from the upper bracket. In my opinion, Team Liquid, Tundra, and obviously Falcons will make it to the top 3. Group B just seems a lot stronger than Group A. No wonder it was considered the group of death. And one last thing I wanted to mention is Aurora. Even though they failed to qualify for the playoffs, they've done incredibly well. Even with a stand-in, they managed to play very confidently and have almost guaranteed their advancement, but got unlucky in the end. So anyways, just huge respect to the guys. And that's all from me. Thank you, dear viewers, for watching the video. And as always, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and comment on whatever you want. I'm not saying goodbye for a long time, though. See you soon.